So I just need to deal with it. Because I'm not allowed to connect to any other network for this better action. I'll just wait on these guys. Let's see them live. So this is a 9 circle satanic child sacrifice and paedophile network exposure in Scotland. So for anybody that cares about the children and cares about the future your children have got left, like everything I say in this live, guys, please go and do your own research and look at all the facts, all the stuff that's out there. I'm going to show you some stuff, some videos I've been taking, some investigating. Hi Cheryl, can you hear me okay? And see me? Great stuff. So I've got my Lizzie's, look. Social services, stop stealing our wings. But this has been impossible. So for anybody that doesn't know, I'm censored to the max. I've discovered there's 9 circle satanic child paedophile, satanic sacrifice and paedophile network in Scotland, and they've been burying, there's mass unmarked children's gravesites over 150 years. Me and Laura have done loads of research. Laura's totally exhausted, guys, and washed out, so she's taken time out and got a new job and stuff. So I'm going to show you, like, catches up, and I just want to say hi to everybody that that's usually follows me on YouTube that's not got Facebook or that, and sorry I've not been on. But the global satanic child, the 9 circle, I know, so I'm going to explain a wee bit about that, because like this is what people don't understand when they're taking orders for these absolute reprobates. Please Scotland, world leaders, I'm a sovereign woman. I have the right to freedom of speech. I'm telling the truth. I will hold you liable if you censor this tonight. If you even attempt to delete it, I'll hold the platform liable. I've seriously had enough of the censorship. Nicola Sturgeon and Police Scotland have told me protesting, there's other ways to get the message out there. Well, you have censored me on every platform. I can't even share or write a post on anything. I can go live on an account somebody else made for me on Facebook. So how do they even know it's me if they're not watching me so closely? It's because, like, I've discovered who the 9 circle satanic paedophiles are. So I've also had them at my door and harassing me, and there's loads of police stuff. Right, anyway, so I'm going to show you a wee bit of some of the videos, because I've videoed them and recorded everything. But for anybody that hasn't caught up in this, and it doesn't have, that watches just this and doesn't have, please go and share this, but please go and make this go global. Like, this is like the future of your children. So like, anybody that doesn't know, the 9 circle satanic child sacrificing network are a network of paedophiles, right, and global elites, and the ones that aren't paedophiles protect them and work with them and get money for it, right, and keep all their secrets. So these paedophile rings have been running shit for hundreds of years, right, and like right now the 9 circle consists of 3 members of the royal family, so you get a circle at the top, right, that's so the 9 circle satanic right, they're paedophile rings, right, so they're circles, right, because they're paedophile rings, and they're just sick and they're world leaders and stuff, right. So the one at the very top, the paedophile ring at the very top, right, there's 9 circles with 9 members. This is what I'm forgetting. Right, so the 9 members at the 9 circle at the very top, and then there's another 8 circles, 9 members. These are like the ones that call the shots, but they're a massive paedophile network, right? And they've got like branches of paedophile rings and shit at all different levels, right? And this is how child abuse is massive, and it's been happening for decades, right? So the paedophile ring at the very top consists of 3 members of the royal family. 3 members of the royal family were the Queen, Philip and Charles, right? But Philip's passed away, so it's probably Andrew's took his place. I don't know. Right, so that's the 3 members of the royal family, and then you've got 3 members of the Vatican. Right, so the Vatican is the other 3 members at the top, so they're like 3 top Vatican members, so it'll be like a pope, the archdiocese, who own the archives and records to fucking everything. The Vatican own the land. I tried to find out who owns everything. All the cemeteries and all the land, and I found it's the archives, and the archdiocese holds all the archives. They're private, but you can request access to them. But it tells you everything they hold, and the Catholic Church own everything. Like they own Glasgow City, they own Glasgow Central, right? So, and not all Glasgow, Glasgow City. They own Dumbarton, Renfrew, Lanark. They own some of the islands. It's just so between the royal family and the Vatican, they own everything, right? The royals and the Vatican across the world, they own everything. Right, so this is the 6 paedophile rings you're dealing with. The Jesuits are the Vatican's army. Aye, I know. And they're pure sickos, and they're doing my nothing. They're censoring me and everything, and the police are trying to arrest me for anything and everything, and they've already been. So for people that didn't know, right, I've never told this on Expose Scotland, I hadn't told it anywhere. My story, why I fight for the children, right? So I fight for the children because I was a victim of a paedophile ring, a satanic paedophile ring, for 17 years. They pure terrorised me because I was going into social work, right? So I was going into social work, thanks Cheryl for sharing them. I can't even share my YouTube channel on Facebook or nothing, on MD's Facebook, because they've censored me that much. So I was targeted 17 years ago with an elite paedophile ring, but I didn't know back then, I was naive. And anyway, long story short, I wasn't on here to tell my story tonight. I'm just letting you know why I do this and why you think, if you think the police are after me and stuff, they've always been after me. So I was going into secure units to expose paedophiles 17 years ago, and I made it dead known. And in my last year, I got targeted with a paedophile ring. They sent me threatening mail, threatening to nail me to my floor, gang rape me, kidnap my kids, sell them to the kiddie porn mob. Didn't have a clue what that was either. And then I found out it was all real through supervisors and stuff, because I was in a placement in social work. And it was all because I was going to get access to the sex offenders register and expose paedophiles. So, but I didn't understand it all back then. But do you know the people, I don't know many homeless these early years, the whole system terrorised me and my children, like tried to take them off me for 17 years. They're now 20 and 21, and that's why I'm fighting back. So I've told a bit of my story, and I put my story on Facebook lately, so I've been totally shut down. Right, so this paedophile ring also, guys, like, I need to ask you or not. Like, this is a global paedophile network that's obviously been trying to shut me down for years, and I didn't know who they were. And this is why they know everything about everything, because they are everything, right? But these people, like this paedophile ring, goes right all the way to NATO, right? Like, I've been targeted with that even younger, that I didn't even know, right? So, and they're military, and they're everybody that's somebody, right? So anyway, the Ninth Circle, for anybody that doesn't know, is a global satanic paedophile child sacrificing network, where the ones at the top have like children that are always in a state of fear and trauma and abused, they're accustomed to rituals and all that. And then once they're ready, these global elites take these children and have rituals and sacrifices. Right, the Queen was already found guilty of the children at the Camlets Indian residential school, right, for children. So she was already wanted for missing 10 children, and you've all seen all the news, it's hitting the mainstream media now, that they're finding unmarked graves of children in Canada, and they were toppling the Queen's statue. And there's now up to the count of the children in Canada is 1,000. Right, so they've found 1,000 children. These are the victims of global elites who have been murdering and abusing and terrorising these children for like hundreds of years, right? So this Nine Circle satanic paedophile network has been operating in Scotland, and I've got proof, for at least 150 years, right? Obviously Scotland's got proof as well, but why they're not doing nothing? Because I seem to think everybody's all scared of these people, but I ain't having gremlins in this world. You see my Save My Children t-shirt. I ain't having gremlins in this world before I get these motherfuckers. There's so many military bases here. Where's that, Angela? There's a military base in Scotland as well in Paisley, and they've got Police Scotland have got fully deployable, or just ordered a couple of weeks ago after they've rolled out the vaccine. Police Scotland have got fully deployable mass identification shelters in the case of mass fatalities. I've got all the documents, but like nobody seems to want to listen. These are global paedophiles and they're up to something, and what they always do is they're hoping all this COVID stuff creates a mass amount of orphans because people start killing themselves and committing suicide and they've had enough and shit. Like, this is all about the rest of the children. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Tell me in 2 years' time I was wrong. At least wait 24 months, because that's what all this stuff's for. Like the mass identification shelters at Police Scotland, you can go and view it, because once it's a certain amount of money, the records have got to be made public. So you can go and view them. They've purchased mass identification shelters in the case of mass fatalities for 24 months. So what they're expecting to happen in the next 24 months, that these shelters are for, right? So people need to start asking these questions. I know what they want them for, because they want to take all the wins again, right? And I don't give a shit what anybody says. So I'm going to go through quite a lot tonight, guys, so you need to bear with me. And for anybody that's not seen me on here, it's because I can't sign in on nothing. They let me sign in on one device and my other phone's broke. So it was still, I had to go through security checks and all that because it's a different device. But on YouTube, they only let me because I can go live. That's how censored I'm, because I can go live on YouTube and it's worldwide. So please, guys, I'm actually begging you tonight, get this shared, get it going absolute viral, global, whatever it takes, because they're going to shut me down and they're going to try and arrest me. I'm going to show you that too. Right, they're planning now how they're going to give me charges and arrest me and how long they can give me right now, because they think that I'm going to go in during the week. So I'll get to that though, right? So you need to help share this for me and share it onto different platforms, because I'm banned for everything, can't share on nothing. So the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry discovered that in Scotland there was satanic ritual abuse. So I'll go to, oh no, so I'll tell you a wee bit about the police harassment. So because of what I've been through, and obviously these are like paedophiles that terrorised me for 17 years. Like, none of them have ever been caught, right? So this paedophile ring's still out there. So I wondered how they can get away with it, right? It's because the Ninth Circle, like, who are, like, keep all the secrets and shit. So the Ninth Circle is, as I said, it's 3 members of the Vatican, 3 members of the royal family, and 3 world leaders. So there's always a UK Prime Minister, right? So I don't think it's Boris Johnson. It'll be Gordon Brown, Tony Blair, or something to do with Theresa May. It'll not be Boris Johnson, because he's, excuse my French, I'm entitled to freedom of speech, but he's a ball bag. So definitely it won't be Boris Johnson. It's like one of the top circle of the Ninth Circle. No way. So I'm going to explain how I know the Ninth Circle are operating in Scotland, right? And through different cases that's came up through all the child abuse inquiries in Scotland. And I'm asking the public to share this information with anybody that you think that cares about protecting children, or like the truth of what's going on in the world, right? So it was, so during the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry, it came to light that there was a place in Lanark called SMYLLUM Park, right? So SMYLLUM Park is an orphanage, and it was run by nuns, and the nuns were the Daughters of Charity St Vincent de Paul. So they were members of the parish St Mary's, right? And they are brothers of Charity St Vincent de Paul, and I still don't even know what, I've got a device actually, I can Google it, the Nation Fathers are, but I'm assuming anyway, because the brothers of Charity St Vincent de Paul, through further research, is St Andrews and all, through further research, I'm going to show you all this in the graveyards and all the mass unmarked child's graves, and how they're trying to shut me down and arrest me now. And Lanark's been it twice. So, what part was that? Aye, so the Daughters of Charity and the Sisters of Charity and the Brothers of Charity St Vincent de Paul are all like members of St Mary's Parish in Lanark, and they ran SMYLLUM, the Daughters of Charity ran SMYLLUM Park Orphanage, The Brothers of Charity had an orphanage in the borders of Scotland, who's just recently been sold to property developers. But there's been a 3-year hold put on it. But they've got acres and acres and acres of like land on these properties, right? Because they're 9 circle satanic paedophiles, I told you. So global elites come and take children at these places, and they have done, I've got proof, for at least 150 years, right? So I've got the Archdiocese archives and stuff. So this is going to be a long live, guys, so, but as I said, please get anybody to listen that you know somebody. Like, this is a matter of national security. There's 9 circle satanic, at the top, paedophile ring members being protected by the United Kingdom. So that's in Scotland, England, Ireland and Wales. And these elite members are being protected by the United Kingdom. They're wanted in other countries. This is where we need to learn common law and stand up for ourselves and get rid of the maritime law and put back into the law of the lands, the lawful law of the land, where the people get to say what fucking happens on the land, and it's no rape, murder and torturing and abusing children and selling them. Like, this is what they're doing, they're just selling them, they're just profit. Child trafficking is the #1 now illegal trade worldwide. So when you think of how many drugs get sold, then for every drugs you know, somebody buys a bit of smoke or something, then a child's been sold, more than that. Like, that's the reality of this shit. So like, people need to like start realising this. Why do you think it is the reality now? It's the reality because these global elite Satanist motherfuckers are getting away with it. That's why it's the reality. The reality is they own everything and they can have it, and we're just letting them take all the children, rape, murder, torture and abuse them and saying nothing about it. And it's time to stand up for our children and tell them, like, there's a lot more important things in the world than COVID, right? There's children being raped, murdered, sold and trafficked on our streets every single day. People need to wake up and get a grip and start protecting children. And we need to be there for the children that are going through this, because the amount of children that are victims of grooming gangs, trafficking gangs and the global world elites that are terrified to say anything because they think everybody's paedophiles, probably, because nearly they are. That's why we're getting silenced. So, sorry for getting a wee bit annoyed again, guys. I'm going to try and keep my calm and get through this tonight. So, as I said, I've been censored on everything, silenced. So it's down to you to share this. So, also, the part of my story I don't go into and I won't go into is I was a victim of satanic ritual abuse as well, but I don't remember much. I don't remember it, right? I just know these motherfuckers have targeted me in my adult life because I was coming after them. And they see me as a threat and they're still not being caught. So, as I said, so part of the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry is Lanark, right? So it took me to all these priests and nuns. So I found out that these priests and nuns are an order, a direct order of the Vatican. Right, so there's your Vatican members of the 9 Circle Satanic Paedophile Network. There's our workers, all the priests and nuns are wee soldiers to abuse all the children in Scotland's orphanages for, I've got the proof, of at least 150 years. And then, so there's an unlimited supply of wee abused, terrorised children ready for when the global elites decide to get a boat or a train in or whatever the fuck they get in and decide they want to take children in hunting parties. And you ought to see, I'm going to show you some of these forests and lands that they're trying to sell to property developers to build houses and roads and put concrete on them, because there's thousands of children in unmarked graves in Scotland. And if people don't start paying attention, the mainstream media won't cover it because they're owned by the royal family, they're owned by the global elites. Nobody will cover it. I'm silent, censors to the max. And they'll probably go as far to say they're going to put a warrant out for my arrest soon. But I don't care. Like, they put a clamp on my car and I cut it off. I don't give a shit. Like, stop it. Stop harassing me, because I'm going to take these all to court and these are all going to get charged under common law. And the more you do it and the more you persist, the more evidence and paperwork I've got and the more paper trail and evidence I've got on these. So guys, so I didn't realise this back then, so for anybody that doesn't know, so I was a victim of satanic ritual abuse, right? But I know it was military high up, but I'm starting to now think there's been other people, because everybody seems to know me and I don't know anybody, right? So, but I grew up and I was safe because I had a really close loving family and stuff, right? And so there's that. And then I became an adult and I split up with my kid's dad and I went into social work. So I was going to be a social worker, and like, suppose, yeah, I know everybody will get kicked out because I'm not allowed to tell my story either, right guys? That's a big no-no. That's what I had a 30-day ban for even trying to tell my own story. I can tell everybody's stories, raise awareness about other children, but I can't tell my own story. I'm not allowed to. The minute I even start to mention it, I'm banned, deleted, kicked out of everything. Police at my door, war cared through my door, police harassing me. Stop the police harassment now, Police Scotland, and start protecting me and my family. I've had enough of yous. So, the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry discovered that there was satanic ritual abuse taking place in SMYLLUM Orphanages, ran by the Daughters, a charity St Vincent de Paul. So, I don't just do research and stuff. Me and Laura also investigate stuff, and we go to the places and we look at them and we see what they look like, and so that was fine. So we've been raising lots of awareness because it also became evident in the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry that there's at least 400 children buried in unmarked graves in St Mary's Cemetery, which is near SMYLLUM. It's just up the road, right? St Mary's Cemetery in Lanark. So I'm like, well, where's the rest of the children for SMYLLUM? They're buried at SMYLLUM, right? So they're on unmarked graves as well. So you're talking about thousands of children, right? So this is just Lanark, right? So so there's St Mary's. So I'm going to show you pictures of St Mary's, right? I've tried to take the other way about because all my files are on that phone, but I'm never allowed to do nothing. They make everything so hard for me. Do you know, guys? Like, you've no idea how exhausting this is, just to try and get shit out there and then nobody cares about the kids. But you need to start caring, or they're going to come again for all the kids, and you're not going to be able to do anything about it because they own everything. They're in your schools right now, sexualising your children, teaching them sexual education at 5 years old. A message to all the teachers out there: yous are being complicit to paedophiles. Yous are grooming children on behalf of paedophiles, right? And I'm telling yous and exposing them. So if you continue to sexualise children and tell them these words and teach them stuff, then you're just as bad as the paedophiles. You're becoming a paedophile for the paedophiles, right? So that's a message to all the teachers that are complicit in what our government are up to right now. They're sexualising our children. They're making legislations under an emergency health, fuck knows what pandemic, right? There should be a pandemic that there's global, like, paedophiles raping, torturing, murdering and burying our children all over our country. That should be merely a pandemic. Thousands and thousands of them, unknown, unmarked, wee children lying in graves. Look, see, it's not letting me, look, these are my witness, it's not even letting me into my camera now. So, this is St Mary's Cemetery in Lanark. So, if you are aware, anybody that's aware of satanic ritual abuse, right? Like, there's certain things that you'll see, like, we thought, like, if you start doing research and stuff, you'll see what these sick motherfuckers do, right? I don't know, I only know what I've researched on it because basically, like, I was as oblivious to you to 2 years ago about all this stuff. I didn't have any idea the scale of what happened in. So me and Laura went to investigate Lanark, and I've now got 2 Police Scotland cards out that I've phoned them. I've got videos of that, and I'm going to play these on here tonight as well. Right, these are for Lanark. And there's another one, and there's also a report I made for when there was a police incident. I've got footage on that as well, so I'm not even getting into that. I'm sick of talking today. Honestly, this stuff's exhausting, so is the research, and then having to do videos and try and put it out there, guys. I'm not even kidding. No one of Laura's burnt out and needs time out, but she has started a new full-time job and stuff, and she deserves to have time out for this. So, message to Police Scotland, leave her alone. So I went up to Lanark myself the night before me and Laura went. And there's a camera on this. The night before me and Laura went, and I put, there was a wee teddy there, and it was just, I'll read it to you because it'll not let you see it very clearly. I had to take pictures. At least 400 children in unmarked graves. So I was trying to find St Mary's Cemetery, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I genuinely, sorry guys, I genuinely couldn't find it anywhere. I need a fag because this stuff's stressful. So I genuinely couldn't find St Mary's Cemetery anywhere. And sorry for smoking, but as I said, it's stressful. This has been stressful trying to get stuff out there and censored on everything. And I'm surprised it's 25 minutes and I'm still on. It's usually for me out now. So the wee cards, I wrote wee cards. 400 children with no parents we lay in an unmarked ground where lie many more just waiting to be found. So it became pretty apparent that there's thousands more children up there, right, that they're not telling you about, and they're lying in unmarked graves. That became pretty apparent the minute we walked into St Mary's Cemetery, right, because it's tiny, right, and there's meant to be all these children buried there. There's meant to be, Laura said that she found that there's 121 plots or something for the children, but that's no, still not, there's not enough space for them. But we've decided and we've discovered that we really do believe that the children are buried in the woods, and I know that we'll show you where they're saying they're buried, right. So it came out that there was satanic ritual abuse in SMYLLUM Orphanage, and we went investigating it because it was orders and nuns and priests for the Vatican, right, that had owned that land and property for 121 years. They were there. So 121 years they had orphanages in Scotland. So bearing in mind I've did other exposures about Bernardos taking children, these kind of orphanages or these children go to, and most of them have either got parents or just kidnapped by Scotland's establishments and authorities, UK's establishments, England, Ireland and Wales do it as well, and so does the whole world. So we went to St Mary's Cemetery in Lanark, and it instantly became totally apparent this place is creepy, right? So this is in the cemetery, right? So there's woods, there's a big massive woods at the back of this wee tiny cemetery, right? So bearing in mind there's thousands of children buried here, they've got to be in the woods. There's no other explanation for where they are, right? So this is the woods, right? So there's if anybody knows anything about shit, there's a crucifix at the entrance of the wood, right? This is in Lanark, St Mary's Cemetery. And there's see the two metal crosses, it's a metal crucifix. It was more like a sculpture and you could see his insides, Jesus' insides and stuff. And his tendons on his arms and all that. And look, the two crosses are pointed at an angle, so it's like in a triangle. So the two crosses at the back of the crucifix are like an angle into the woods. So one's facing one way into the woods, one's facing the other way, and Jesus is facing out the way, and the other cross is at the back of him. Right, so there's the three crosses. So if anybody knows what that means, can tell me in the comments. So this wee creepy woods. So this is the woods, right? When you go in through the wee opening there with Jesus on the cross. And there was like face masks with blood on them lying in the woods. There was like wee circles where there was like reefs and stuff, and it looked like there'd been rituals of some kind. This is the woods like for the outside, right, at the back of the cemetery, and there's mass unmarked child gravesites in there, right. So me and Laura went in to look, and there's like, as I said, there's wee places where there's ribbons and circles and stuff. And this is in Lanark, St Mary's Cemetery. So this is at the back where they're saying all the children are buried, just right at the back where there's a headstone for them, but there's a mass unmarked child gravesite, right? So we're just out here investigating this. There's like other things, there's like wee flowers and stuff, right? And the ground, see the ground in that wee woods, it's all soft and full of holes, right? Like you fall in it and everything, it's creepy as anything. Right, so here's complete just once. Right, so there's a wee video of us walking through the woods. So that's what it looks like at the back of St Mary's Cemetery. in the mass unmarked child graves in Scotland's orphanage, SMYLLUM Park, ran by the Daughters of Charity St Vincent de Paul. So they buried all the children here. So me and Laura walked through it. Because we couldn't figure out where all these children were buried, so we walked into the wee creepy woods.
Apparently there's 158 apartments in that graveyard. That's no big, there's no 150 empty spaces there, so they're in these woods, definitely. Yeah. As well. And that looks like memorials people are leaving, like... Aye, it does, like, shows up wood. Like that was just stuck.
Right, you get the idea, right? So, aye guys, see if you're, like, just remove yourself if you're gonna, like, be trolling. I've heard that no grass or roots from the trees or the bushes will grow. Right, well there's, right. So is that why all the trees are falling out? Like, we were trying to look, there's like all these trees keep falling down, and the roots are like just hanging out the ground. There was like loads of trees that are just falling. Like loads of trees that are just lying at the ground, so the ground's so soft. And they've just like, the trees look like they've just toppled. Sorry guys for the quality, but I've had to video this because I'm sort of censored on everything. And they would be letting me go live on this device, and it'd have been a lot better. So I had to video it. The ones with no leaves or branches. I saw there was a lot like that, like dead trees, there was a lot of them, and then they just like actually literally fell out.
That what all this is? That is, isn't it?
So at the back there was like...
At least 400.
So you didn't even see half it, right? So see when you get to the very back, it's like a big drop. So it's like a big cliff, and then it's like a big ditch. But there's like trees lying in that area that are literally just capsized and they're all dead. I'll see if there's any in this. Any in the pictures. Let's see. Oh, for God's sake. And like, see like little loads of dead. But no, even that, there was much bigger trees than that had just died, and they were just capsized. So I'll show you. I'll try and see if I can find a couple of pictures of the big trees. Aye, look, there's one of them, look. So like that, look, see that tree and its roots are all just capsized, and its roots are all just lying. There's loads of trees like that in that forest. It just looked like they just died and fell out. If anybody knows what that means. Let me see if I can find some more. They were everywhere, so it shouldn't be hard. They should be in the background. That's a blurry picture. Aye, look, let's see. Aye, look, there's a couple in the background there. So like, see them all? Like, just that they've fell out of the trees. And amongst it. And they've all died, and you can see where they've just fell out. All the brown branches. After they've all died. But you could see all their roots like just hanging out the ground as if they'd just shriveled up and died, honest. It was creepy. It is the creepiest thing I've ever seen. And like I said, it was just a horrible feeling in there. So that, let's see that picture. Aye, so look, the trees, look. All the ones are all dead, see them, like the big tall ones. But a lot of them had capsized. The ones on there, on this, it looks like the left. They'd all, like, they'd all capsized. A lot of them, just lying with their roots all hanging out the ground. In this wee forest. And it was just creepy. So, and that's the entrance to the forest. With the crucifix with Jesus, right? So this was in St Mary's Cemetery in Lanark, right? And this is just behind where they've got a wee stone and it says the children of SMYLLUM. So that's all the children I've got there, and it's only came about because there were survivors, right? So then we started walking about this wee cemetery. So bearing in mind this is a cemetery where there's mass unmarked graves of children, right? So it turns out the cemetery's got the nuns and the priests, and then there was royal guards, right? So me and Laura are like, what the fuck is going on? Why is there mass unmarked children but all these royal guards and nuns and priests? And when I did research and investigating, the nuns and priests are 9 Circle members. So the royal guards are as well. So what they're guarding the thousands of children that are lying buried in unmarked mass graves, right? So they are, and they're all in that forest, everywhere. Because they're still doing it, you know. They're still doing it, right? These people, see these nuns and priests, do you know what they own now when I was out there? They own all the old people's homes. So they've got all the old people's homes, all the big private ones. So what they do, see if that's what they've done to children, what are they doing to the poor old people? Like the orders of nuns and priests, like seriously? You're talking about serial rapists and murderers. And I'm not exaggerating, guys, and I'm not mad. Like, just do a bit of research, please. Don't just call me mad. Go and research this stuff, go and look it up, go and see what's out there, go and see the newspaper articles. I'm going to show you some. So we started walking about the graveyard. And then, so this is in a wall, right? And it says, this was the children of SMYLLUM. Something of the children of something, God have mercy for the children of SMYLLUM, it says, and it's built into the wall in the cemetery, right? It's built into the old wall, so they've been burying children there for like 150 years, right? Because it's built into that wall, which is like 150-year-old or something. So, and that old stone's built right into the old wall. See it at the sides? I've not got a great picture, but you can get the gist of it's built into the wee wall, right? You'll see pictures. It's not a high wall. So that was for the children of SMYLLUM. That was the original one, built into the wall. So that separates. But they're saying the children are on both sides of the wall, right? So I'll show you what I mean. So then we started walking about the graveyard, right? So, just not far from where that wall is. No, I'll show you the other one first. So then there's this one, right? So that's like where the forest is just behind, right? As you can see, forest that I was showing you pictures of a minute ago. So that one there says, in memory of the children of SMYLLUM. Right, so during the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry, it's saying at least 400 children. But nobody knows. There's no names for these children. No ages, no how many, no number. Somebody's guessing at least 400. There's much more than 400 children in here, trust me. They're out to get me. So we left wee cards and stuff all over the cemetery, see them? On the grass. Saying like, we've got brothers and sisters waiting to be found. There's at least 400 children lying here. So they're saying the children are all buried there and at the other side. I'll show you in a minute where the survivors are put. So this at the other side, and you'll see the wall that separates the forest here, because the nuns and priests are in here. So there's another bit of mass unmarked land just at the other side of that wall, where I was showing you a minute ago, and that's the forest behind it. But a wall, this bit's walled in, with that wall, the headstone's in. And that headstone and memorial there has been actually put by survivors of child abuse, not by the satanic nuns and the priests that raped all the children. So they priests, the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry, they were found guilty of raping the children, right? And so they raped them, and the nuns raped them as well and took part in it, and the nuns beat them up and murdered them and stuff as well, right? So, and they were part of satanic rituals with global elites and people like Jimmy Savile and that visiting them. So this is the unmarked land. It's a pure bloody picture because I had to take, but that's the unmarked land that they're saying all the children are in. That and the other bit at the other side. And that's like another entrance to the forest there. At the back of there, that walled in bit. I've seen all the children, the mass unmarked gravesite of children buried for SMYLLUM are in there. So while me and Laura were walking about after we'd been in the forest, we started looking at the headstones and stuff, and we discovered this. This is on the side they're saying all the SMYLLUM children are, so anybody that wants to do a bit of research and actually serious about wanting to protect children in Scotland, go and research this, because look at the size of that cemetery, right? It's impossible. So we found this other headstone in the same bit, right? And that's, don't know if you'll be able to read it, it's quite a time out. But just so that you know, take a screenshot and read it backwards in the mirror or something. But that says, and it wouldn't let me take a good picture of that at all, but I got one eventually. That said the adults and the children of St Charles Private Hospital, Castells. Right, so that was St Charles', that's in St Mary's Cemetery as well in Lanark. Right, so me and Laura were totally unaware that there was another mass child gravesite there, in a period of 50 years for St Charles' Private Hospital, Castells. Right, so I investigated and done research on that, and St Charles' Private Hospital in Castells was in Broomhill and Partick. Right, this cemetery's in Lanark, and that's another child mass gravesite in Lanark and St Mary's Cemetery, that the only people that have got marked graves are the satanic nuns and priests and the Royal Guards. And right next door to it you've got a big military cemetery where all the top military people from Scotland are buried, because they were on 9 Circle paedophile ring members. So that's the exposure. So me and Laura left like a banner on the wall as well, saying at least 400 children in unmarked graves. Right, that was on the wall at the back, but it was just on with white tack, so like the can't see anything. So as I said, we were totally horrified when we went about this cemetery, and we couldn't believe what we were finding. I'm going to see if I've got the wee bit, if I've done a wee bit of the video. So I had to get copy of everything, guys, all day off my phone. So when I was there the night before, discovered other things in a newspaper article. I've discovered another priesthood, like order of priests who have the exact same buildings, and it was like this one. So this was the night I went myself before me and Laura went. And I went to I stopped in the country road when I was nearly at the SMYLLUM Park, and there was like a big castle type building with a big bridge just going away the wee tiny country road. So all the buildings out there are just pure creepy. Right, so that's like 5 minutes to SMYLLUM. 10 minutes even up the road. This is the wee country roads that lead to it, because the motorways are shut off to Lanark now as well. So they'll shut off the motorway and you can only go in, to Glasgow you can only go in the country roads. So how about that? They're totally hiding. So this is the building, this is the front of this place I was just showing you, right? Look at the roof on the building, right? You see it, aye. Right, so sorry about the quality of pictures, but my printer, everything's just broke, I've just broke everything. So what happens when you expose satanic paedophiles. So that's the front of that building, so this is like the buildings on one way country roads to Lanark, where all the children are buried in mass graves, right? So, hold on, and all I'm going to show you is, just because I've seen it earlier when I was looking stuff out to show you, I only noticed this earlier today. Aye. So this is Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry as well, right? And this was boys raped by priests at satanic parties. Right, so this is another satanic priesthood. And look at the building, if you can see it. See the roof on the building? Like the exact same wee step things. Can you even see that? Aye. Right, so that was the one with satanic parties at the Scottish Child Abuse Inquiry. So looks pretty similar when I'll show you SMYLLUM in a minute, right? So a child abuse inquiry witness is told he was raped by priests during satanic drink-fueled sex parties. Dave Sharp also described a catalogue of sexual, physical and emotional violence at St Ninians in Falkland, Fife, between 71 and 75. Right, so the independent inquiry is looking at details. So I've got all the outcomes and case studies of this, guys. That's what I've been looking into for months and stuff. And we've discovered the Daughters of Charity are satanic nuns and priests as well. So back to, what was that, aye. So that's the night I went myself. So this is the church, St Mary's Church, with the priests, the Brothers of Charity, St Vincent de Paul, that raped all the children in SMYLLUM. Right, this is where they are. It's just a wee tiny video. This was creepy. They kept doing this to me.
Pray for all the Daughters of Charity who served on that bench. Pray for Daughters of Charity, like seriously. What's wrong with you people? Pray for all the Vincentian fathers who served here. So the Daughters of Charity served here that ran SMYLLUM. Aye.
Right, so you get the gist of that, because my arm's so hot that, guys. Right, so see where we were in the chapel, or the parish church. So, if you knew what happened in that place, how could they even... I know, that's what I was thinking. Right, so wait you see this, wait you see SMYLLUM, right? SMYLLUM's just horrific, because they're built flats to the left and the right and the front. And then all the children are buried in the back, and they're selling it to property developers. Right, so that's why I've tried to raise awareness, because I'm like, we need to not get them down, we need to find all the children and mark their fucking graves. If they're buried all over Scotland and they're not building on it, the children are getting marked graves. They're pure sick, like they're making millions of pounds out of selling the land after they covered up rape, murder and torture of children for 150 years at least. And now they're just going to cover it up by getting, like, the Daughters of Charity want £6.2 million for the land behind SMYLLUM. And I'm not going to let them get it. I'm not having it. And the only reason, that's why I'm saying, guys, this is Dime Circle. The only reason they can sell it is because I've investigated that, is because they were gifted it by the Vatican. So they were gifted the land by the Vatican to make to have orphanages where they had like all these hundreds of children there, like 150 years, right? And for 150 years, they abused them sexually, mentally, physically, emotionally, terrorised them, had them in a state of fear and alarm, murdered some of them by accident because the abuse was that severe. The priests came and they raped them, and the children that got accustomed to it were like taken to rituals and like ground into rituals or survivors of this stuff. They just get silenced like everybody else that talks about it. So, and then they were taken to rituals and satanic parties and stuff where they were drugged and raped and party rituals, and these rapists wearing hoods and fucking just being sick motherfuckers. And then they sacrificed one of the children and they would bury them. So they've done this for 150 years. So there's hundreds and thousands of children. You're talking about the biggest paedophile network in the whole entire world is running all the orphanages in Scotland. So I'm right up to the borders. So I'm guessing that it's not just Scotland, it'll be England, Ireland and Wales as well. So any of the Vatican orders are part of the Nine Circle Satanic Paedophile Network. So 100% it's the same story. They've been securing orphans for Nine Circle paedophiles for at least 150 years. Probably 300 years, because I've got something dating back to 1700 and something. So this was all the wee cards I made. It says, will you mark our graves so we can be remembered? I have no parents and no one to remember me, so I made loads of them as well. So me and Laura scattered them all over the place. In that river I was showing you, the night I went, I threw some down the river and stuff. So that was, I don't know what the charges are going to be, little probably. They're not charging me with nothing because I've got every right to do that. People can't be allowed to forget this. So then we went to SMYLLUM, right? So I'll show you what SMYLLUM looks like first so you can get the idea. That's the video there. Hold on. Aye. So this is all the land, the acres of land that the nuns are trying to sell for £6.2 million, and this is all the land that leads up to SMYLLUM. So again, the quality of the video off a phone.
Creepies know they was talk about human hunting parties. Like, please, oh man. Have you ran about here that would terrifying?
That's because in SMYLLUM they've sold it to, there's 3 luxury flats and they were having a big massive party. And then see the building that's going to come up in this video, we didn't know them but we know now, that's, the nuns have still got a convent there, watching that land that we're showing you now. So that obviously, because all the children are buried there, I know, so till that's sold, and still that's sold to property developers, the nuns have got a convent there still, and that's the building beside, there's a castle type building, right, that's SMYLLUM, that's the orphanage, and the building beside it was the staff headquarters, which is the convent, that one, the castle one's the orphanage.
Looks like there's been something there, guys, but we don't know. Must have been. Because it looks like they've been plastered or something. So she'll need a wee minute.
That's all the acres and acres of land that the nuns own, because it was gifted to them by the Vatican.
Look at how it's all nice wee housey housey. But look at the SMYLLUMs, the bad linties. It was named out of there for the weeks.
So the SMYLLUM was all barred up, it was like bars on the windows, and the convent beside it was no. So you get the picture. So my sword again. So that was, that's the land at SMYLLUM, the orphanage. All the acres and acres of land that the nuns and the priests own. No, the nuns own that. It was gifted to them by the Vatican. Right, so what else have I got here? Aye, this is some pictures of the land. So like, aye, that was just some pictures there. Like the acres of land that the nuns that raped, murdered and tortured the children for all the years are trying to sell for £6.2 million. Because the Vatican gifted them it because of the Nine Circle satanic paedophile network. And they gifted them the land to terrorise and torture the children for 150 years at least. So that when they wanted children for their sick stuff that they do, the global elites, like the royal family members who have got Balmoral Castle and the Vatican members, then they had orphanages like that, and the world leaders like the presidents and the prime ministers, then they had orphanages like that and an unlimited supply of children, and now they're all buried in unmarked graves. So when me and Laura seen that they'd get wee memorial benches and everything on ice in the wee cemetery for like the nuns and the priests, and then we seen these, look, so this was the Royal Guards. We couldn't believe it, that they were all remembered, and the children are just in mass unmarked graves. So it keeps not like we're going it now. So this is like, these were like proper like coffin, marble coffin things. And we were like, what the hell are they? So we got to read one of them, and it's Colonel something. Colonel Mustache or something. I've got a better picture in the phone that I'm having it live on, guys. But it says he's a royal guard. So that was like another picture. There was two of them. Well, it keeps making me agree to everything. So there was two of these, with the nuns and the priests, the Vatican order, right, and or the cemetery, and then just the children on unmarked graves in that forest and stuff. So we were pure outraged. And then, as I said, we found another mass unmarked grave, and it was St Charles's, St Charles's private hospital, and it's for children and adults there. For 50 years, there's another mass unmarked grave. You know, these people that were abused by their institutions. And then that's the ones like the priests have got. So these are all the big stones that the priests and stuff have got, and the children are just forgotten, totally forgotten about, lying as if they don't mean shit. David, I'm on a live, pal. Do you want a ciggy? Thanks, you want to shut the door. Go ahead, pull it shut tight. Cheers. So, yeah, and this is what the children have got, the children of SMYLLUM. So me and Laura put the wee notes everywhere. So that was fine. And then obviously left another wee. So as I said, we were totally outraged. And I really don't care what anybody has to say, but I'm talking about these are child murdering satanic paedophiles who've been sacrificing children for decades in our country and putting them in unmarked graves like they're nothing and they mean shit. So me and Laura, I had loads of wee clays, it was my idea. Laura just went live because I was censored on everything. And this is what we done to the nuns, and I thought they're not getting to rest in peace while they've murdered and sacrificed children and supplied them to paedophiles for decades. So, this is where the nuns and priests are. So, we put ink and stuff early clays and left them where all the nuns and priests are, because we thought, well, we need to shock people, because this is shocking. There's thousands and thousands of Scotland's children lying in unmarked graves, while these nuns and satanic paedophile priests get to lie with big memorial benches and tombstones. So, as I said, the nuns and the priests had a lovely wee bit, and it was all tombstones and memorial benches while the children just lie there with nothing. So, there's the memorial benches and stuff in the background, and they're wee square for them to sit and memorise the satanic nuns and priests. So, I really don't care about anybody's negative comments, because they deserve that. They don't deserve to lie there peacefully while there's thousands of Scotland's children that they murdered lying on and about them in this cemetery with no even a name and an age or how they died, nothing, like they mean shit. So me and Laura left all that. So then, this is what I'm getting at, I told you it'll be long, guys. So then Lanark police station came out to my house twice. But before that I was also at Partick, because they tried to arrest me as well. Guys, I'm going to do this in another live as well, because I'm absolutely shattered. So I'll do part 2 of satanic ritual abuse in the 9 circle satanic paedophiles in Scotland. But I need to go and get something to eat and that, I'm absolutely shattered. But satanic ritual abuse is real in Scotland, it's happening, and they own everything. And they've been abusing children in children's care homes and orphanages. And these are global paedophiles. And the whole point of this live was, is that I've not been able to get YouTube live or nothing. So I'm just getting it out there that there's 9 circle satanic paedophiles operating in Scotland, and there's also top members being protected by the United Kingdom government, and obviously there's members within there as well. And like I said, guys, you need to start educating yourselves. Everything I say is backed up by facts, it's all out there. I'll come and do another live about this, because I've got piles of stuff, like piles of it. And it was like Scotland's judicial system, shame, corrupt justice system. The title, why was Scottish Sabo ignored? It's just loads of stuff on this list of successful SRA cases, like convictions. There's only 10 of them. There's only 10 successful SRA convictions in the full United Kingdom, yet they're ran by satanic paedophiles. And so is your justice system, your legal system. Children born for sacrifice to Satan. This is like some of the stories on this. Children are being secretly reared by Britain for sacrifice by Satanists, says the government-backed expert psychologist Valerie something, right? These are tiny and I need glasses so I can't really read it. Survivors, blah 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 blah, of ritual abuse said yesterday the children were. So basically, like they're saying that there's families breeding children, and I've been told personal stories about this as well, guys, where the children have went to people, obviously carers and foster carers and stuff, and the kids start telling stories, obviously 'cause it was incest in the family and that, and some of these are families for Lanark, where St Mary's Cemetery and all this other stuff's going on, and the children were all having sex with each other at a young age, and then the children have started confessing that limousines and taxis and all that used to pick them up. So you know what that is, they used to get dressed up by their mum and dad or whatever, and these limousines used to come and pick them up and take them to obviously like the royals and judges and QCs and stuff. This is pimping out children. This is what we've been trying to raise awareness about. So I will do another one. Dundee charity reveals terrible toll of ritual sexual abuse. So don't think I'm just on here having. There's hundreds of evidence out there. These are headlines you can look up. Cops raid 4 city brothels. There's children in some of them. That's a story about Jimmy Savile in Scotland. So how he was in. But Jimmy Savile worked for the Nine Circle paedophiles. So he went and procured children and told them what children would be good for the rituals and stuff. This is how sick these people are. So he went and found all the children for like the people like the royal family, and the prime ministers and stuff, and told them what children were ready for rituals and sacrifices, or would be best, would react best. This is how sick these people are, and I've got evidence. Would react best at human hunting parties, like terrorised. So this is the kind of stuff. Charities claim that satanic abuse is rife in children and children is rife. Children have been victims of satanic abuse, including rape, murder, and even production of so-called snuff films, where depict killings. 2 leading charities claimed last night. That was on the 9th of November 2014. DJ Jimmy Savile raped a girl at 15 during a satanic ritual. One campaigner said he heard of babies born but never registered, so they would not be missed when killed by secret paedophile networks. This is all true. See, the children they raped in the orphanages and they had children, they're never registered. They go to the satanic paedophiles. Many incidents took place years ago, but experts are sure ritual abuse still operates. Police Scotland said yesterday they were taking allegations incredibly serious and would investigate any complaints. Right guys, I'm having on this, so sexual abuse ritual is real in the UK, here's the proof. So this is all documents on it as well. Ritual abuse, what websites to find it on. And that's the Orkney Islands. Well, I've did stuff, right? The untold story of the ritual abuse allegations in the islands, right? They've totally covered that up as well in the Orkney Islands. Same paedophile network, 9 satanic paedophiles. Why do you think they're getting away with it? Like I said, their top circles, like 3 royal family members, 3 world leaders, and 3 members of the Vatican. And then they've got orders like the nuns and sisters and priests everywhere who are responsible for procuring all the children. And they're all trusted and they run all the orphanages. The Catholic Church also owns all the land, so they own all the cemeteries and the crematoriums where they burn people and stuff. They own everything. They own shit, and they're all archived in the Archdiocese archives. So I'm going to request to get them all. But I'll come back, guys, and do a part 2 of this, right? Where I'll tell you the rest of it. Because there's loads to get through. I've still got a couple of videos where I was at Partick Police Station. Because the police I found that there's a sergeant in Partick Police Station totally harassing me lately, right? Sorry guys, I need to scratch my belly. So he's totally harassing me in Partick Police Station. because there's been 5 arrests where I've been at George Square raising awareness about child abuse since last August. And there's the one with Rob S. I found him, the picture of him. So for every arrest for Rob S, this sergeant's been here, and it was a sergeant that arrested, that cornered me into a street when he thought I was myself, but I had the photographer Billy with me. And he cornered me 22 police officers. And he searched me, a man searched me, and a woman, and they searched my car, and they ordered a drugs test. They totally intimidated me, humiliated me, put me in a state of fear and alarm, had totally harassed me. My PTSD got triggered, and I couldn't really go back to the square because of that, because I just thought they were going to set me up because they're horrific. But I didn't realise at the time, but now that I've looked at all the pictures, that sergeant, there's a picture when I get arrested, for anybody that's not on Facebook and hasn't seen it. Where the hell is it now? But I'll come back home, guys, and do another live, like I said, because this has went on for ages. So thanks for bearing with me. But I've got a lot to get through about how these pedophiles are harassing me. Oh, there's me. There's the sergeant. There's the sergeant. There's loads of stuff about the pictures I've seen that are iffy. In one of the pictures in one of the arrests there was 3 different divisions of police. There was K division, there was G division, and there was Q division. I've got a list of them somewhere in my research of who all the divisions are. But one of them, as I said, is just all different divisions, and it's just weird. And they totally stalked and harassed us. But what I have realised is, every single arrest, there's one of the pictures of me getting arrested. But you can't really see, there's a guy at the other side of me searching my other room and stuff. So they stopped me, 22 of them, and they searched me. And I've just discovered that the sergeant that told me that he stole after I was told I was free to go, because I'd done a cocaine test and a cannabis test. All unlawful, because I didn't give my identity, I didn't give my name, I didn't give anything. So they unlawfully searched me, they unlawfully searched my car, and they didn't even have my identity, and the sergeant told me that he knew who I was and gave one of the police my name and address, right? So that was fine. But this was all recorded on my dash cam, so when it was all finished, a long story short, that sergeant stole my dash cam. He went into my car, pushed me out the way, and he went into my car and stole it. And then he told me to go to Partick to get it back. So I just went to Partick the other day. I'll do a live to show you a wee bit of the video footage. But I just went to Partick the other day because he's broke my memory. He gave me my camera back, but he stole the memory card. But that was my evidence. Them humiliating me and searching me and laughing at me and putting me in a state of fear and alarm. And there was 22 officers and me, and the cameraman Billy, who was ill, he was sitting on the ground collapsed. It was horrific, and they triggered my PTSD big time. And none of them would, I kept saying to them, like, he's stealing my property, arrest him or charge him. And the other 20 officers just totally didn't protect me, a member of the public, and ignored it. And as I said, I've got this sergeant in like every single arrest that was done at George Square. Like, this sergeant was present. He was present at every single one of them. But I'll do another live on all that stuff and finish how the Ninth Circle are operating in Scotland, and they have been for at least 150 years. And I'll let anybody that's not seen this catch up, because it's been ages and I'm shattered. I need to go and feed myself. And I'll do another wee live, guys, where it's letting me. I'll take advantage. I'll put all that crap away. So, there's a few things I want to say to these, and also how we can tackle these paedophiles. But Lanark wanted to speak to me. They said they need to speak to me face to face. They've came to my house twice. I've told them to stop coming to my house. I'll come to them during the week. So he's going to phone me on Tuesday. I've got video footage of that because I was live on Facebook when he phoned. So I've got video footage that I was going to show you. May as well just show you before I go in it. No, I can't, I'm too tired, I'm hungry. Right guys, I'm going to go. So good night, love yous all, and I'll do a second live to go with this because it's too long. And thanks for tuning in, and keep your children safe. And please don't just take my word for anything I say. Go and do your research and find out who the people that run these institutions are. They run the care homes, the orphanages, every institution that's an institution, these satanic paedophiles run it. So, good night, God bless, love yous.